In a bustling restaurant, everything seemed normal, until an unexpected accusation turned the day upside down. A hard-working black waiter, known for his dedication and charm, finds himself in the center of an explosive situation. His white manager suddenly accuses him of theft in front of everyone, tarnishing his reputation in seconds. The atmosphere grows tense as customers and coworkers look on, stunned by the unfolding drama. But what happens next is something no one could have predicted. With emotions running high, a shocking twist emerges that challenges perceptions, exposes hidden truths, and changes lives forever. Stay tuned to uncover the powerful story behind this life-altering moment, where injustice meets an unexpected revelation. What's really at the heart of this accusation? And how will it all end? You won't want to miss a second of this incredible journey. The waiter, Marcus, had worked at the restaurant for over 2 years, earning the respect of his colleagues and the admiration of regular customers. Always the first to arrive and the last to leave, he was the kind of employee any manager would be lucky to have. But today, everything felt different. The manager, Mr. Edwards, stormed into the dining area, his voice sharp and accusatory. He claimed a large sum of money was missing from the register and pointed the finger squarely at Marcus. Marcus was stunned, his mind racing as he tried to process the accusation. He knew he hadn't done anything wrong, but the weight of the manager's words hung heavy in the air. Customers whispered among themselves, and some of the staff exchanged nervous glances. What had led Mr. Edwards to this conclusion? And why was Marcus being singled out? Something about this didn't add up. Marcus stood frozen, the weight of the accusation sinking in. He searched Mr. Edwards' face, hoping for some sign that this was all a misunderstanding. But the manager's glare was cold and unwavering. "I know what you did," Mr. Edwards said, his voice low but firm. The room fell silent, except for the faint clinking of plates from the kitchen. Marcus glanced around, seeing the shock and disbelief in his coworkers' eyes. One server, Jenna, hesitated before stepping forward. "Mr. Edwards, are you sure?" "Marcus would never do something like that," she said softly, but her voice carried a hint of fear. Instead of answering, Mr. Edwards reached for his phone, saying, "We'll let security handle this." Marcus felt his heart race. "I didn't take anything," he said, his voice steady despite the knot in his stomach. "Check the cameras." But just as Mr. Edwards dialed, another employee whispered something that changed everything. The room grew colder as the tension thickened. All eyes turned to the employee who had whispered something to Mr. Edwards. It was David, the busboy, a quiet, observant presence in the restaurant. "I think you should check the back room," he said nervously, barely above a whisper. Mr. Edwards paused mid-dial, his expression shifting slightly. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his tone still sharp, but laced with curiosity. David hesitated, glancing at Marcus before continuing. "I saw something earlier, someone near the office." It wasn't Marcus. His words sent a ripple through the room. Marcus locked eyes with David, silently pleading for more information. "Who was it?" he asked, his voice firm but tinged with desperation. Before David could answer, Mr. Edwards cut him off. "Enough," he snapped, but there was a flicker of doubt in his voice now. "We'll sort this out." He stormed toward the back room, with Marcus and the staff trailing behind, their steps heavy with anticipation. What they were about to discover would change everything. The group entered the back room, the dim light casting long shadows across the cluttered space. Mr. Edwards marched straight to the safe, his movements quick and deliberate. He tugged it open, revealing the empty cash drawer. "See," he barked, spinning around to face Marcus. "The money's gone, and you're the only one who had access." But before Marcus could respond, David stepped forward again. "Wait," he said, his voice stronger this time. "It wasn't Marcus. I saw someone else leave this room earlier. It was—" He stopped, hesitating as all eyes turned to him. "Who?" Marcus pressed, his heart pounding. David took a deep breath. "It was Rachel," he said, naming the assistant manager. Gasps rippled through the group. Rachel had left for the day hours ago, claiming she wasn't feeling well. Mr. Edwards' face tightened, his confidence cracking. "Rachel? That's impossible," he muttered, but the doubt in his tone was unmistakable. As the room buzzed with confusion, Marcus noticed something on a nearby shelf, a crumpled piece of paper sticking out from behind a box. He grabbed it and unfolded it slowly, his hands trembling. The note, scrawled in hurried handwriting, read, "Asterisk, don't trust anyone, especially Edwards. Asterisk." Marcus stared at the note, his mind spinning. The conflict had just taken a shocking new turn. The room fell silent as Marcus held up the note. Mr. Edwards snatched it from his hand, his face turning pale as he read the words. His confident demeanor crumbled, and for the first time, he looked genuinely unsettled. "Where did you find this?" he demanded, his voice unsteady. Marcus gestured to the shelf. "Right there," he said. "Looks like someone didn't want us to know the full story." Just then, the restaurant's security officer, summoned earlier by Mr. Edwards, entered the room. "I've reviewed the footage," she announced, holding up her tablet. "And we have a clear view of what happened." The staff gathered around, eyes glued to the screen. The video showed Rachel entering the back room earlier that morning, looking around nervously before opening the safe and taking the money. But that wasn't all. Moments later, Mr. Edwards entered, speaking with Rachel and shaking her hand as she handed him something, a thick envelope. Gasps filled the room as the truth came crashing down. Marcus turned to Mr. Edwards, his voice steady but firm. "Care to explain that?" Mr. Edwards stumbled over his words, but before he could respond, the security officer stepped forward. "I think it's time we call the authorities," she said. As they escorted Mr. Edwards out, Marcus felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The accusations, the tension, it was all over. Or so he thought. Later that evening, as Marcus locked up the restaurant, he found another note slipped under the door. It simply read, "Asterisk, this isn't over." Asterisk, Marcus stared at the note, a chill running down his spine. The truth had come out, but the danger wasn't gone. Marcus stood in the quiet of the restaurant, holding the cryptic note. The night had brought resolution, but also left him with an unsettling feeling. As the authorities investigated further, it became clear that Mr. Edwards and Rachel had been working together, using Marcus as a scapegoat for their schemes. Their plan unraveled quickly, and justice was finally served. The next day, Marcus returned to work, greeted by the warm support of his coworkers and regular customers. They apologized for doubting him and praised his strength in the face of such adversity. Marcus felt a surge of gratitude. It wasn't just about clearing his name, but knowing that truth had prevailed. Though the mystery of the second note lingered, Marcus chose not to let fear control him. He had faced accusations, betrayal, and injustice, but came out stronger. For Marcus, this was a reminder. Integrity always shines through, even in the darkest moments.